Alright, I know there's not a whole lot of room to work. I didn't give you a whole lot down there, and I did change the directions. So if you look at my directions that I have here, I added, because I want you to do a little bit more. So, first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the 3. We're going to figure out which form it's in, and then we're going to do, pretty much find everything that we can. So, the very first one here, determine what form each graph or each equation is given. If you look at number 1, you see the parentheses squared plus 9, so that is in vertex form. If you look at number 2, you don't have the parentheses squared. It actually is ax squared plus bx plus c, so that's the standard form. And then our third one, if you have these parentheses like this, those are called factors, so that is what is called intercept form. Each form is nice for finding different parts easier. Alright, let's go back to number 1, the vertex form. Obviously, it's going to be super easy to find the vertex, so the vertex for this graph, remember the h is always the opposite of what it looks like here. -3, because it looks like positive, 3, 9. So my vertex is at 3, -3, 9. Another really easy thing to find is the axis of symmetry. It's a line, and it's an x equals line. It's always going to match up with your x value. X equals -3. Remember how we can figure out which way the graph opens. We look at A. If you look there, the A value is -1. So it's negative, so that means that the graph is going to open down. Sometimes easy just to sketch a little picture. If it opens down, means that the vertex is going to be up at the top, so the vertex is a max, or maximum. I'm going to want the maximum value. The way you're going to find the maximum value is to look at the y value from the vertex. That was 9. That just means that 9 is actually the highest point on the graph. And we can do stuff with range with that also. Alright, we need to also find if it's wide or narrow. So -1, the absolute value of that is just 1. It's not bigger or smaller. So actually it's not wide or narrow. It's just normal. The y-intercept. The way we find the y-intercept is to plug in 0 for x. So for the y-intercept, I've got y equals -0 plus 3, all of it squared, plus 9. Do the work. Be careful with the order of operations. 0 plus 3 is 3. 3 times 3 is 9. This is actually going to end up being 0. So the y-intercept is 0. We're going to write that as an ordered pair, so it's when x is 0, y is 0. And then from there we could plot some points and graph. Alright, let's take a look at standard form. For standard form, to find the vertex, we're going to have to do the little formula, x equals -b over 2a. b is already -2, so it's just positive 2, over 2 times -1, which is going to give me -1. So there's my x value of my vertex. The axis of symmetry is actually going to be x equals -1. Remember, that's a line. To find the vertex, though, I'm going to have to do some work. So I know that it's -1 comma something. In order to find y, I'm going to have to plug that in. So I've got a negative sign, -1 squared, minus 2 times -1 plus 8. When I do that work, -1 squared is 1, stays negative, plus 2 plus 8, so that gives me 9. So my vertex is -1, 9. Again, a is negative, so I know it's going to open down, which means that my vertex is going to be a max. So the max value is 9. Alright, last one we're going to do, intercept form. This one comes in handy when we are looking at, looking to find the x-intercepts of the graph. So, if I start with my factors, x plus 3, and set it equal to 0, and x minus 1 equals 0, I'm going to find that my x-intercepts are going to be at -3, and at positive 1. I want to write these in ordered pairs, so -3, 0, and 1, 0. My A value is positive, so I know that this is going to open up. So when I do find my vertex, it's going to be a min value. So keep in mind here, I just found that this is -3, 0, this is 1, 0, so my vertex is going to be right in the middle. So to find the vertex, I'm going to do -3 plus 1 divided by 2. Just find the average of them. -2 over 2 is -1, so my vertex is -1 comma something. The way I'm going to find that something is to plug -1 in for x. I'm running out of room, but if you plug in -1 wherever there was an x, you've got 2 times 2 times -2, and that's going to give us -8. So, remember this parabola opened up, so that would be a min value. The min value is 8. Now, the only thing different with this one, if you look at the A value, it's 2. 2 is bigger than 1, so that means that this is going to be a narrow graph. And we'll do a lot more practice with that. Alright, see you guys in class.